The blood jet is poetry. There's no stopping it. Welcome to Eviliv3, a celebration of my favorite tabletop role-playing games. This is a sister channel to Eviliv3. Subscribe if you're new to the channel because today we are continuing our How to Play Vampire the Masquerade series with this episode, Hunger. There are a number of game mechanics tied to being a vampire in V5. Arguably the most important is the insatiable hunger vampires possess. This is more than an appetite, it's lust. It's an addiction, and it fuels the vampire's power. As much of a blessing as feeding is, it's also a curse. For every nightfall, a vampire awakens to hunger, and they must kill to silence it. As a side note, there are a number of different predator types in V5, and not all are incumbent on killing. A vampire's hunger is scaled in levels from 0, where they are sated, to 5, where they are ravenous. For each level of hunger a vampire possesses, they gain a single hunger die. These are typically identified as a different colored dice. Hunger dice replace a regular die in the dice pool on a 1-for-1 basis. The only exceptions are checks, willpower, or humanity dice pools. Hunger die act as regular die in simple tests or contests, but they cannot be re-rolled using willpower. The downside is when you roll a 10 on a hunger die, this means you have a messy critical and/or bestial failure. A traditional critical means you exceed your expectations and perform your action flawlessly. A messy critical means you exceed your expectations, but the beast within you came out, so you may have killed the bouncer as you planned, but you lost control and snapped his spine, or opened the door but pulled it off its hinges. This is decided between the player and storyteller, resulting in a stain, breach of the masquerade, losing a dot in an advantage, or acting out a compulsion. Failing a roll with a hunger die of 1 is a bestial failure. This means the beast within has manifested in an inopportune moment, and you're forced to act out a compulsion as your blood is dictating your actions. The storyteller may decide this is too great a price for new players, and instead they may lose a dot in an advantage, suffer 1 or more points of aggravated health damage, or perhaps your hunger raises by 1. Compulsions are the result of the beast driving your impulses through its hunger. When you experience a messy critical or a bestial failure, you may be forced into taking a compulsion. This may be chosen or rolled for by the storyteller. When it is chosen, the player must act out that compulsion. These actions are natural to the character in the moment and may result in a restored willpower point. There are a number of compulsions that may affect a vampire, like hunger, dominance, harm, paranoia, or a clan compulsion. Hunger forces the vampire to feed, forcing hot blood to wash over their tongue. They will do anything to slake this hunger, from violence, subterfuge, or begging. Until this need is met, they suffer a 2 dice penalty to their dice pool, and it will end as soon as they slake at least 1 hunger level. Dominance forces the vampire to come out on top and revel in it, taunting the weak and challenging the strong. They will use any and all means in their next interaction, forcing it into a competition and rubbing their nose in the loser's defeat. They cannot accept teamwork, and any action that avoids establishing dominance suffers a 2 dice penalty. It will end after having won and gloated over the victory. Harm forces the vampire to turn things ugly. They must hurt and destroy, not to win or feed, but to cause harm. They will revel in the social, emotional, or physical pain they inflict. Anything that does not immediately result in someone getting harmed suffers a 2 dice penalty. It ends as soon as the vampire incapacitates, destroys, or drives the target away. Paranoia forces the vampire into fearing they are being hunted. The blood reminds them of their vulnerabilities, and they must disengage from anything or anyone that is a perceived threat. Any action not taken toward this end suffers a 2 dice penalty. It will end after an hour in a safe spot. Clan compulsions are specific forms of the blood which flow down from the antediluvians who warp their inheritors, suiting the millennia-old patterns. It may manifest in an inherent defect, necessary release valve, or a result of some ancient working. Regardless of where it comes from, it's always inconvenient at the moment. Bruja stand in rebellion. Gangrel reveal feral impulses. Malkavians experience delusions. Nosferatu suffer cryptophilia. Toreador suffers an obsession. Tremere are forced into perfection. And Ventru exhibit arrogance. Whenever a vampire rises at sunset, calls upon their vampiric powers, or stirs the blood in some way, they risk rousing their hunger. So, when a vampire surges blood into their attributes, takes on the blush of life, mends body damage, or activates most discipline powers, they must make a rouse check. This means you roll a single die, hoping for a 6 or higher. On a failure, the vampire earns 1 more point of hunger. At Hunger 5, the vampire's body is too starved for blood to provide supernatural power, and they can never intentionally rouse the blood. If an external force provokes a rousing of the blood, the player must make a frenzy test with a 4 difficulty. Drinking blood reduces the vampire's hunger level by a fixed amount. Only by killing a human can you reduce your hunger to 0. Blood potency affects this, as blood potency above 7 cannot reduce a vampire's hunger to below 3 without killing them. Vampire bites produce a supernatural intoxicant while opening the blood vessel. If the vampire takes the time to hit a vein or artery and licks the wound closed after, the victim only remembers a drug trip, weird sex, or drunken intimacy. A vampire can kill a helpless or unresisting human in 5 turns. For vampires above blood potency 2, no amount of animal blood can slake even a single point of hunger. Without the iron gullet merit, vampires don't even gain sustenance from processed bagged blood. Unprocessed bagged blood only slakes hunger from a blood potency above 2. Feeding from a vampire reduces 1 hunger in the drinker and inflicts 1 hunger in the victim. If the victim is 2 blood potency levels higher, the drinker gains 2 hunger for each point suffered by the victim. This may be done in a bite attack as well. As you can see, hunger drives the vampire's daily existence and must be paid attention to, lest the beast reveal itself in a compulsion. Next episode will cover the blood, generation, potency, gifts, prices, and danger. Thank you for watching today's How to Play Vampire the Masquerade episode. Subscribe and ring the bell if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to click the like button and comment to let others learn about this How to Play series and this channel. And as always, remember that evil spelled backwards is live. So get out there and be evil.